Okay, well, good morning, you guys. It is exactly 9 a.m., and we're going to go ahead and get started on the call. I know people are going to be coming in. But anyhow, so thank you, everybody, for joining the call on time. Here we have, I don't even know how many calls we've done so far. I've kind of lost track of the series that we've been doing. But last week, we really concluded the whole concept of creating a growth culture. And I know we've got some new people on the line, so let me just do a really quick 2-minute recap of what we're doing on these calls, what's been our goal. I mean, we've been doing these calls now since September of last year, and I have super awesome news, you guys. I'm almost done uploading all the calls online, and they're actually broken up in series, so you'll see leadership and all the the first 5 calls that we did, and then the second part of leadership, and then anyway, everything is on. I'm almost done uploading everything on the internet. So I'm super excited. We'll be having everything in Spanish and everything in English. So that's the good news. So you'll be able to access all the calls back from September. So anyhow, just to do a really quick recap, what we're going to be doing today's call is we're really going to start looking at what has somebody take action, and what has somebody, I don't know if you've ever thought about, like, what is it that has, sometimes you can really, I don't want to call it bulldozer, but you can really take action in your life, and then there's some times where you're just stuck, right? And ideally I wanted to have this call be interactive, so I am going to request, really, you guys, really request for you guys to be active in this call, because I don't want to just give you the answers. So here's something that I've learned recently, and that is, when somebody tells you something, you learn it, you capture it, right? But when you discover it for yourself, it really becomes real. You really get it, right? I could sit here and explain to you how to ride a bike. And I could tell you, right, you're going to get on the bike, and it's you want to have the equal parts, and this is how you balance. And I could give you the whole description. And you can, understand it conceptually. And you probably even, for some of you who are really smart, go, okay, I totally get it, the equilibrium and the balance and all this stuff, right? The equal parts and all these things. But not until you get on the bike and you start riding it that you discover for yourself, oh, I get balance. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make this call interactive, and I know a lot of times you guys have been very shy, so I'm going to request that you put your shyness aside, because I really am committed that you guys really get this, okay? And here's what we're going to do. Last week, we concluded the growth culture calls, and last week we started talking about what does it look like to really be a mentor for somebody. What does it look like to have them, for you to hold them to account? And I shared with you guys the example of, when a mentor, especially now that we're going to extravaganza, for you to be, my recommendation is for you to be effective with your teams, effective with your distributors or employees or your family or anything in life, right? As a leader, it's all in the way you show up. It's all not what you do, not what you say, but who you are being at that moment. And we talked about last week that it's really, you could tell somebody something, but they feel, and the way that you land with them is what will make all the difference. Now, that there are people, for example, my mom is a perfect example of this. She can get away with just about anything, okay? Because who she is, the person that she's being at that moment, is that she's coming from a place of love. She's coming from a place of concern. Now, somebody else could say the exact same thing as my mother and get offended and be upset. So last week we started talking about it's all in the way you show up. And the way you show up is who you are being at that moment. And we talked about how you can generate yourself at any moment of any time. So even though this is kind of like a new call series, everything is overlapping, okay? Because I went to the gym this morning with my friend, and I was telling her, I'm like, no kidding, how we do one thing, we do everything. Like really, really, no kidding. And I got present to that this morning because we're very different, right? And I'm not going to talk about her. I'm going to talk about me. But like I was doing this kettlebell class this morning, and it was like really challenging. And it was like, it was like the guy was pushing us, and I absolutely loved it. Like my sweat was on the mat. Like I don't want to say I struggled, but it was a lot of effort. And after I got out of the class, I ran a little bit on the treadmill, and I was thinking about like, oh my God, I was like laughing because one of the things that we've been talking about in the beginning of the series has been, I really encouraged each and every one of you to get present to your life. To not just do things like just to do them. And I'm not saying for you to overanalyze things, but for you to be aware, self-aware of everything. Because no kidding, how you do one thing, you do everything. And so there I was like on the treadmill, and I was like thinking, I'm like, damn, that was a really good class. And then all of a sudden it hit me. Like, the instructor, who he is for me, is somebody who cares. He walks around the room and he's like, come on, and he tells you how to do the right movement, and he pushes you. And so number one, how I show up to that class is a complete reflection of who he is for me. Now, how is this relevant to our business? Totally relevant. If you are a business owner and you own a restaurant or a bakery or whatever, or if you have a fit club, how your team responds is a complete reflection of who you are as a leader. Like, no joke, right? And so if your team is slacking off, and I'm telling you this because one of the things that, for those of you who are new on the call, one of the things that I am not shy about, I'm not afraid of, is admitting my challenges. I don't want to call them problems, okay? But admitting my challenges or my difficulties or my struggles, because at the end of the day, that is how you learn, right? And one of the things I will tell you is that I know when I was like totally on, right? Like on the scale from 1 to 10, I was like at 8 or 9, sometimes at a 10. My team was moving at that speed. But the moment I started to go slower, my team, because of the momentum that I had, they still kept going. But then things started to dwindle down because I started to dwindle down. Okay, so I started to dwindle down, and then my team started catching up. And next thing you know, it comes to a point where they're like even slower than you. So why am I saying all this? Because right now we're going to start to look at how do you start to transform that in yourself and in your business. Okay, so again, for those of you who got on the call a little bit late, this is going to be an interactive call, and I don't want to just give you the answers. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I'm going to open up the line, and I want you guys to just, you don't have to say your name if you don't want to, but I want you to just shout out some words that come to your mind so that you can start to discover what is it that causes someone to take action. Okay, so let's start looking at that. Now, here's the thing, okay, for most things, for something when you want to create something, you must have a clearing for it. Okay, so what do I mean by this? Okay, you must have a space and a clearing for something to show up. Now, the best way that I can explain this is, let's say you wanted to create a painting. Now, if you were wanting to create a painting, you're going to want to have what? A fresh canvas. If you wanted to create a masterpiece, okay, you're going to want to have a clearing for you to be able to paint your new painting, a new piece of paper, a clean piece of paper. Because if someone gives you a piece of paper with his kids or her child's painting on it, you're going to be painting on top of an old painting. Now that doesn't work. Not when you want to create something from nothing. Okay, so why is this important? Because here's the thing, to be able to have a space for people to show up, it's got to have a clearing from nothing. So why am I saying this is because so many times when you start getting new people into your business or even yourself, people come with whatever they come. their experiences from the past, whether they're good, they're bad. Let's just say somebody wanted to transform their body. If somebody has never had a weight problem, for example, like my dad, for a perfect example, or my dad, and he goes, we were at his house this weekend, and we were doing some exercise, outside, and he comes outside in his shorts and his nice shoes and his nice, Hawaiian shirt. And he's like, what are you doing? Right? And we're like, oh, we're working out. Now, here's the thing. How he shows up at that moment is how he is for himself is, yeah, I'm an athlete. And we're like, Dad, you're gonna hurt yourself. You don't have the proper shoes. He's like, no, I'm not. And for those of you who know my dad, you totally can see him doing this, right? Took off his shoes. He started working out barefoot. And then when we took a little break, he went inside and changed and put on some tennis shoes and put on some proper clothing because we were all sweaty, right? So here's the thing. He comes from a place of, I'm an athlete. Now, another person will come in and look at this and see us working out. We were doing insanity workouts and the Nike Fit Camp app on the phone. And we were doing some burpees and push-ups and all kinds of stuff, right? Somebody else, let's just say my mom, right, who she could come and she brings herself and the way she relates to herself as, I'm not an athlete, and that is way too hard, and I'm going to be sore tomorrow. Forget it. I'm out, right? So people come with whatever they come. So it is so important. Why I'm saying this is because it's easier to see it in somebody else. But guess what? You show up in anything, whether it's working out, whether it's doing your invites, whether it's going to extravaganza, whether it's going to the leadership development weekend, whether it's going to an HOM, whether it's participating on these calls, you show up with whatever you show up. And that determines how you respond. So let's start looking at what I mean by this, okay? So many times people want to create a future, right? But what they want is they want something better than what they already have. They want to create a body, but they want to improve their body. And when we come from that place, all we're doing is comparing or judging from the past. Now, I want you to just think about that for a moment. When I heard this, by the way, this is something that I took a course about 2 weeks ago. It's amazing. And so I'm literally sharing with you guys what I learned. And I was sitting there going, wait, what do you mean? So I want you to just think about this. When you are creating a future from the past, you're judging, you're evaluating, you're comparing, and it's all an improvement of the past. That's like painting on top of a painting that's like painting on a piece of paper that already has a painting on it. You can't, it's like you're improving the piece of paper. Imagine if somebody gives a piece of paper with a little house and a little, a mom and a dad and a kid and a dog, right? And you wanted to paint, your dream vacation. Now you've got to now you have to improve what's already there and add some water to that family and some palm trees maybe or whatever, right? So it's not creating. You're improving that piece of paper. You're just changing that painting that somebody handed you with a house and a family and a dog. Now, think about that for a second. That's how we build our businesses. We build our relationship. We build our bodies. Okay, we build our future. It's all based on the past. An improvement, something better than, judgment, comparison, evaluating. And that's why we get so frustrated, because it's like painting a vacation on top of a little house with some kids and a dog that somebody handed you over this piece of paper. So you're doing the best that you can with what you have. And you're building on top of something else. Now, that's not really creating. That's improving. So what does it look like to really have something come from nothing? Is getting a fresh piece of paper, like clean canvas. So if you want to start, it's not going to be as much energy. okay? Because you're not doing anything to improve. You're literally starting from nothing. Not from the past, not, well, in the past, this is what I had, I don't want that. This is what I want more of that. No, it's literally from nothing. What do I want to create? Now, here's the thing. For you to have that, for you to be able to have that occur, you've got to start mastering reality. And very few of us, I include myself, we don't master reality because we pretend to know, and we interpret things all from the past. We see something and we don't take it as it is. We're evaluating and comparing. Is this better? Is this worse? Do I know this? And you're always evaluating and comparing. Okay? And here's the thing. When your team comes to you, here we're going to extravaganza, right, in a couple of weeks. My request for every single one of you is if you want extravaganza, if you want to create something like magical from this extravaganza coming up, is you walk into Chicago from nothing as if it were your first extravaganza. Where we go wrong, and I will be the first one to admit this, is that we go, well, last year's was better. Well, last year's was this. Oh my gosh, this is so much better than last year. Oh my gosh, there's more people here than last year. Or whatever it is, or last year I was way up there and now I'm here. Or, oh my gosh, last year I was here and I'm still here. See, so you're constantly comparing, and therefore your actions are coming from nothing other than comparing and evaluating, and that can suck the energy out of you. It's like painting on top of that painting with the house and the kids and the dog, rather than having a fresh piece of paper and go, what do I want to create? Okay, so let's start looking at that. So again, you guys, I'm really going to need your help with this. So I want you guys to start looking at, for you to be able to have something happen from nothing, we must master reality. And what does that mean? And I don't have a lot of time to go over all the details, but basically, like in a bullet point, is mastering reality is accepting things as they are. I'm going to say that again. Mastering reality is accepting things as they are. Not adding anything, not taking away anything. It's literally choosing to accept it just as it is. You go to extravaganza and you get there and you choose it just as it is. You have 5 people with you at extravaganza, you have 10 people at extravaganza with you, or you're the only person in your team extravaganza, and you choose it just as it is. You don't evaluate, you don't compare. Now, why is that important? Because that is where you mastering reality is where you can start having power in taking action. So let's start looking at what does it take to take action? What is it going to take for you to have results and take action? And here's the thing, as a business, you've got to be able to impact people's actions. If you want to be a successful business owner or, anything really, if you want to be an effective leader, remember from one of our first call series, we talked about leadership is the ability to influence. Now, you could have, and we talked about the 5 levels of leadership by John Maxwell back in the series, and again, you guys, everything's now going to be online. I'm almost done uploading everything so you can go back and listen to it, but you can have leadership by position. Like, yes, you're the boss, boom, so people have to listen. But that's not sustainable. It can't collapse. The moment the position's not there, people will no longer listen, right? But then the second level of leadership is people will listen, or you have influence because they know that you care. That whole thing about people don't care what you know until they know that you care, right? The third level of leadership is to be able to create results. And people will follow you, and you have influence because they're in alignment with what it is that you want to create. Okay? In this case, in our business, is creating financial and wealth abundance. Wealth meaning your body, your mind. We do a lot of personal development. We invest in our mind and in our body. And as a result, we can create tremendous amount of financial freedom. So when you have the ability to create results, which is what the whole call today is going to be about, people will follow you. You will have influence with them. People will go to extravaganza with you because they know, oh, extravaganza is going to give me the tools to be able to create the results I want. And if you've shown that you care and you've been a great mentor, meaning that you care about their success, they will listen and they will go. And then the fourth level of leadership is when you have invested in people's personal development. You know, Jim Rohn, Mark Hughes, your mentor, people that you will run through brick walls for them because you know not only do they have the position, not only do they care, not only do they create results, but they have, number 4, invested in your development. So for a business, for you to be an effective leader, you must be able to impact people's results. You must be able to say, hey, we're going to extravaganza, and want them to go. Now, here's the thing, okay? And this is why I chose to do this call today, because I really am committed that you guys be the most effective to get people to extravaganza as possible, and that is, how do you impact people's action? So I'm going to open up the lines, and you guys, I know that you guys are, been really shy about participating, but I am going to really request that you do participate. I just want you to give me some words. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to draw 3 circles aligned, like left, middle, and then right, okay? So we're going to go from the left, okay, because the first one, I want you to put a question mark, and that's what we're going to discover is what has, number 2, the second circle, the one in the middle, put action, and then the one to the right, put results. So you have 3 circles, left, middle, right. The left has a question mark, which is what we're going to discover. The middle one is your action, and the right one is results. Now, I'm going to open up the lines, okay? And I want you guys to start thinking about what is it that, hold on, let me open the lines. There we go. Okay, the lines are not muted anymore. Okay, so I want you guys to start thinking, okay? So would you guys, well, I'm just going to assume that you agree that the only way so remember, we're mastering reality, the way things are in real time, human experiences, not la-la, not metaphysics, not the space, not the angels, none of that, okay? By the way, I believe in all of that, but for right now, we're talking about human being reality. What creates results, the only thing that creates results is action. Now, some people will say, well, I can meditate and manifest and visualize. Absolutely. But then you can't just visualize. You must take action. Now, the question is, in the first circle with the question mark is, what has someone take action? So this is where you guys get to participate. So just shout out some words. What has someone take action? Anybody?
Excitement.
Okay, excitement. What else?
A need.
A need. I'm going to write these down. What else?
Commitment.
Okay, excitement. A need. Commitment. What else? Inspiration. Okay, great. Inspiration. What else? My pen just died. Okay, excitement, a need, commitment, inspiration. What else?
Disgust.
Discuss. Okay, what else?
What?
What has you take action? Think about that. What has you take action?
Fear.
Fear. Okay. So we've got excitement. I want you guys, now we can make a big old list of this, okay? But I want we're talking about mastering reality, meaning what will have you be in action that will have you take results, that will have you get results every time. Okay? So here's the deal. Let's think about this. Have you guys been excited about something? Now, it's just yes or no answer, okay? Have you guys been excited about something and still not taken action? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, of course, right? We're excited. We come out of extravaganza. I know it's happened to me many times. I come out of an event super excited, and I still don't take action. So, boom, excitement can't be it. Number 2, need. Have we ever had a need for something, whether it's money or whatever, right? Have we ever had a need and still not taken action?
Yes.
Yes, so that can be it. Number 3, have we ever been committed to something? Think about this. Have you ever been committed to something and still not taken action?
Yes.
So commitment can't be it. Inspiration. Have we been inspired and still not taken action? Absolutely, right? Like I know last week, I've been on a 60-day commitment with myself. Super inspired the first 2 weeks. This last week, you guys, my inspiration went out the window. The holidays, all this stuff. So boom, that didn't have me take action. And then lastly, fear. Have you ever been afraid and still not taken action? That's a question. Yes, right? So you guys start thinking about this. If it's not, and here's the thing, we walk around and it's going to take a little bit of time perhaps for you guys to digest it, okay? But here's the thing about what has us take action. These things, excitement, the need, the commitment, the dream, the desire, the fear, the disgust, the inspiration, right? The visualization, what else do we do many times? We repeat something over and over, the incantation. Those are all great. And do they have you take actions? Absolutely. But are they something that will have you take action all the time? And the answer is no. So the question is, what has you take action? And this is a big question mark because these things occur as if they are, as an is. Like, yes, excitement is what has me take action. And it does sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. So I want you guys to just ponder this for a minute. Is what has you take certain actions in your life if it's not these things? Anybody?
Accountability.
Huh?
Accountability to someone else.
Have you ever been accountable to something and still not taken the kind of action? Because you'll take some action, right? For sure. The action of not doing something is also an action, right? But the accountability, will it have you take the kind of action that you desire every time?
I would say most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah, right? And that's the thing. We walk around, you guys, and we relate to people as if they are that thing, as an is. Accountability is what has me take the necessary action to create the results. Now, all these things do have you take action, but they're not always what you can rely on. And we're interested in how can you generate yourself. So here's the thing. I want you to consider that the source, that's what we're talking about here, the source of human beings, that's what I'm interested in because we're all human beings on this call. The source of human beings to have them take action is the way things occur to you. So let me say that one more time. The source of action. Now, all these other things could be, but the source of action is how things occur to you at that particular moment. So let me give you an example. And there's 3 things that cause your occurrence. You might want to write these down. Number 1 is the situation. Number 2 is the people that's around you. And number 3 is how you occur for yourself. The situation, people around you, and how you occur for yourself. These 3 things can cause and influence the occurrence of a situation for a human being. So, let's take an example. All these things, excitement, all these things, I'm not discarding them, but they're not the source. Now, for example, let's take excitement as an example, an excitement. So you're at Extravaganza, and the reason why you get excited is because how it occurs to you is that, wow, this is possible. So the source of excitement is how it occurs for you. Now let's take fear. You are walking down an alley, and it's super, super dark, and this big dog comes out. What the fear there for you is how it occurs to you is as a threat, therefore you have fear. Okay, so all these things, the excitement, the need, the commitment, all these things are something that influence, but they're not at the source of action. What is at the source is the way that things occur to you. Now, why is this important? Let's look at this, okay? For example, this morning, right? I went to bed really late last night, and I wrote on my whiteboard that I was going to wake up at 6 a.m. Now, how it occurs to me to wake up early is that it's just something that I do. It occurs to me as possible. Now, if it occurs to somebody as hard, what kind of actions would they take? They would procrastinate. They would wake up sluggish, right? Because how it occurs to them is, oh my gosh, that's really hard. Or like my mom, perfect example. We were working out. The actions, the source of actions that Gabriel took at that moment was, oh, you guys are working out? The source is, that's easy. And because it occurs to him as easy, doable, the actions that he takes will be in alignment with the occurring. So, it's already past 9:30. Anyway, so let me conclude this. So here's the thing. Why you guys want to take this is that by taking action is completely correlated to the way things occur. Now, why is this so awesome? I think, okay? It's because now you don't have to rely on fear. You don't have to rely on excitement. You don't have to rely on need. You can literally alter the way things occur for you at that moment, at any time, at any place, under any circumstances. Things can be like, oh my gosh, this is hard, and then you can go, no, it just occurs to me as if it's hard. And at that moment, just the way you can transform the way you relate to yourself, you can transform the way something occurs to you. You're about to go give an invite, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is really hard. But instead, you could say, no, it just occurs to me as if it's hard. What if I could generate myself and have it occur to me as fun? What actions would I take? And then, boom, your actions will be completely correlated to the way it occurs to you at that moment. So here we go. We're going to Extravaganza. People are telling you that they can't go or whatever. Now you're not going to go, well, what happened? You're going to try to pump them up. No, get into their world like we talked about in the sales series. Discover them. Have them get the experience that they will have. And therefore, the occurrence of going will be easier. If they're saying, oh, I don't have money, it's not that they don't have money. That it occurs to them as if it's hard. But what if you start to generate them and say, okay, well, let's alter the occurring. What if we can have it occur to you as it's totally possible, as it's going to be fun, and you start creating this world for them, and then once they get it, how they alter their occurrence, now you can say, what actions will you take if this occurred to you that way? And they start listing the action, and therefore that will influence the results. So you guys, here's the thing. Lastly, we'll conclude with this, okay? And that is how you can alter the occurring, okay, is by this. You have put three circles again, left, middle, and right. On the left, put new occurring. On the middle, write new action. On the middle, write new actions. And on the right, write new results. So if you want new results, you know that you've got to have new action. But now you know the source, and that is have new occurrence of those actions, and therefore you'll have different results. So know this, just the way you can relate